Welcome, my day walkers, my creatures of the night, my wanderers, my warriors, and everybody else in between. Welcome to the number one podcast, The Infinite Frequency, and I am, as always, your host, L.E.O. Lothbrock. L.E.O. Lothbrock. Marnie Moo is asleep on the new settee in the corner of the studio. She's loving life. First of all, let me check in. How are you? Today is Monday, where I am, approximately 10:30 a.m. in the morning. How has your day been? How is your morning going? How is your evening going? And if you're still asleep, then when you wake up, I hope it was a pleasant dreams. So this is a funny time of year, isn't it? So I'm hoping that you're all okay. Obviously, you know, like I say, it's a very difficult time of year. This can bring out some strange emotions in us. It can make people act in ways they wouldn't normally act. And then if you couple that on top of all of our addictions, afflictions and contradictions, it can be a very confusing time of the year. It should be a happy, wonderful, magical time of the year, festive, fun and full of joy. And it is for a lot of people. But there are people out there that struggle at this time of year for multiple reasons. So, you know, if you're out there and you're alone, first of all, I see you, I hear you, and I understand. And I have empathy towards your situation. And some of you may say, no, you don't, you ain't got a clue, mate. Look at you in the studio, you're doing this and doing that, you've got your own gaff. Well, I've only been off the streets now a couple of months. I am absolutely blessed and fortunate to have been put into a permanent accommodation. The apartment is nice, yes. And it's taken me 5 long years to get to this point. I had to put a lot of work and effort in, especially in times when I really didn't want to, or I didn't think anybody was listening, or that anybody cared. When I was being told that I couldn't get help, or I needed more help, and yet was put back on the street. And that was the irony for me. Every time an organisation said you need more help than we can give, they took the little help I was getting away and put me back on the street, which is, it's a really interesting paradox, that. Now, I'm not saying I was completely innocent and that I didn't, you know, there wasn't things that I did that made it difficult, absolutely. But I think I was more of a product of my environment and years of stress and not being seen. However, you cannot dwell on it. You cannot blame the world. You cannot, point fingers. I found that the magic I was looking for was in the work that I was avoiding to do. So, as I say, I'm really, really glad that you're joining us, and welcome to everybody from all over the world. As I say, we are blessed. The message is being carried across the waves, across the frequencies, across the ponds, across the oceans, and we are managing to touch people in multiple countries across the world, which still absolutely blows my mind. And as the numbers grow, all I want to do is produce more good content and give people more access to recovery, to honest, raw, real, unbiased recovery. It's, I'm all inclusive. I don't exclude anybody, and I try to use fully inclusive language as well. My own personal journey draws upon multiple recovery programs because there are lots out there. It is believed that most of them 12-step programs originate from one, which, just for advisory's sake, that is the AA. Now, I'm not affiliated with any of the recovery groups out there. I'm completely independent. I don't represent anybody, nor do I pretend to. So all of my suggestions are exactly that. Yes, they've been taken from multiple facets, and I even have my own recovery program. Again, I'm not pushing any agendas. I'm not selling you anything. I'm here to provide information in an unbiased way that you can resonate with, or and that makes it a bit easier to understand. And I'm very blessed because I have this platform and other social medias. I have a TikTok which I go live on at 9 p.m. UK time every single day. If you just stick 9 p.m. UK time wherever you are into your Google search bar, it will tell you your local time zone. So on there it's a bit more freestyle, if you like. I have questions coming in, and people come in, they ask, they interact, and it's a really beautiful environment. And then of course I've got this space here, which is growing, and it's growing fast. I've just managed to get all of my episodes up onto YouTube as well. So now everybody who has a phone will be able to access my audio podcast. And remember, I'm doing this, I am an independent person. As you can tell, there are no ads, there are no sponsors or anything like that. It is just me, on a microphone. I started using a terrible tablet phone, Android phone, 5 years ago. This was just an idea I had early in recovery, along with other crazy, bigger ideas. And as the time went on, this one didn't fizzle out. It is something I was called to do. And it's taken me a long time, 5 years, to learn my craft, to learn the platforms, and also to learn how to deliver the information in an unbiased, fair way, without projecting my opinions or my views out onto the world. I try to offer you the information that was given to me, the information that worked for me, but also the information that didn't, or the suggestions that didn't, because I'm not a professional, I don't have any education, I am just somebody who is fortunate enough to have walked through this journey, picked up some excellent suggestions on the way, and have been able to implement them into my life. And that is how I got to where I am today. It's a lot of work, it's a lot of effort. At times I wanted to give up, at times I wondered what the hell I was doing. And I'll be honest, only a few months ago, I wasn't sure that I was ever going to see some real results. But I continued regardless. And thanks to some wonderful wise words from some people in my life, I ended up taking their suggestions, and then I was offered this accommodation. And it is beautiful, and I am blessed. But I had, the last 5 years, as I say, have been absolute... a difficult journey is how I'm going to put it. So as I say, welcome to the show. I love the fact that we have a global tribe now, and that we're growing rapidly every single day. I tried to put out a couple of episodes here every single day, especially through December. I don't want anybody to be alone. I want there to be enough content on my platforms that people can sit there and if they need to binge and also get information that's going to help them in their journey ahead, even if they don't necessarily understand it all in the beginning. I've currently been remastering some old episodes and relaunching those as well, so you'll pretty notice there may be like the music might be different, or it might be a bit rougher around the edges. And I quite like that. It shows me where I've come from, how it was in the beginning to where I've got to now. And one of the things I noticed is right in the beginning, in the early days, I was just sharing daily reflections. They were very short episodes, but it got me out of my head. It gave me something to do. I was able to articulate the readings, and as time has gone on, my confidence has grown, my abilities have grown, and alongside that, I'm seeing that in the growth of our tribe. And for that, I am very, very, very grateful. I am somebody that never used to feel seen. I felt invisible, ignored, and today I certainly don't. Today I'm sat here in my studio, in my apartment, knowing full well that my message and my voice is travelling across the world. And it is not my message, it is the message of recovery, and it's the gifts that I was given by my gods, my Odin, Freya, Loki, Thor, the gods of the old ways. That's who I pray to. I believe in all gods as well. I'm fully inclusive, like I say. I don't care if you're man, woman, whatever your beliefs are, whatever your background is, whether you're well educated or not as well educated, whether you are. It just doesn't matter, is the point. Here you will find it's an all-inclusive platform, as is my TikTok, and I won't tolerate hatred or any exclusions whatsoever. And if ever you feel any of the language you've heard has been exclusive, please feel free to message me, and I will address that situation immediately, because my aim here is to be a voice of reason and one of compassion and understanding. I am trying to unite, not divide, and in this day and age that can be a very tricky task. Now, I'm not a people pleaser. I'm not going to try and please everybody, because that's impossible. Just like, when I was filling some information when you're doing something like this, and what's your target audience? And some people would say everybody. For me, it's anybody that needs to hear the message. And if it resonates with you, and you hear something that you find useful, brilliant. If you know somebody that can use the information, please share and pass it along. Nothing I say here is my own original thoughts. I may have adapted it, and I may articulate it in a slightly different way. But ultimately, everything that sounds good I have learned along the way. And if you ever hear an idea that's a little bit makes you go, not sure about that, that's probably me. I hope that doesn't happen too often these days. I like to think that I've taken suggestions and that I've grown and developed into a person of, as I say, compassion, understanding, love, honour, loyalty. So that's the check-in. So I hope you're all good. And then before I play a bit of music, today's topic is going to be on fear. Because no matter how far we are in recovery, no matter where we are in our life or in our journey, fear plays an incredible part in a lot of our lives. I will talk about that. It played a huge part in my life, and today it continues to try to do so. But I've learned to watch for it and to see patterns, and I've learned how to try to deal with it in ways that doesn't allow it to then control me or affect me, or certainly won't. And because fear can make you act irrationally, emotionally, and the very first lesson I was ever taught within the recovery programs is, if you're emotionally invested, if something hits you and you want to react immediately, don't. Pause, allow the situation to flow through you, give it time for your nervous system, for your mind to catch up, because the initial reaction is not normally the correct one. And after some time, you will see that, and you would normally move forward to a different thought, if you like. Now, some of you may not. Some of you may still feel the same after you've paused. But ultimately, that pause gives you the opportunity, and your system, like I say, the opportunity to really digest what you're thinking or feeling, and separate the truth from the things. So before we go into reflection in the morning, I would just like to play a little bit of music. It's Christmas, so it'll be a Christmassy song. Obviously, all of the music I use is produced and created by a gentleman called Kevin MacLeod. I found his royalty-free library on YouTube, and this gentleman had tons of royalty-free music that you can use for your own work. And I am truly, truly grateful, because it is because of him that I'm able to break up the show, give you a bit of a rest, which gives us time to digest information. Or sometimes just, I like to have a little pop in the studio, or I might, as I'm going to in a minute, go and put something on. So just sit back, relax, enjoy the music, and I will be right back to you after the music. Welcome back. So I hope you enjoyed the music interlude. I managed to make myself my morning lemon and ginger fruit fusion tea with a hint of lime and honey. So, as I say, today's show is going to be on fear. That's the main topic. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to read you a reflection, and then I'll read it again afterwards, and then we'll go from there. So again, sit back, relax, grab your cup of tea, put your feet up, and let's get into today's show. Fear. Fear wears many masks. Sometimes it comes in handcuffs. Sometimes as pride. Sometimes disguised as concern. And in recovery, fear can whisper, "You're not ready." Or, "What if you fail again?" This is it's a thief of action, a master of disguise. But here's the truth. Fear has no real power of its own. It feeds only on the energy that you give it. Every time we act with courage, every time we tell the truth instead of hide behind comfort, fear starves a little bit more. Now, in recovery, fear can stop us from reaching out when we need help. It can make us judge others before they can judge us. Fear can keep us clinging onto old habits and safety nets. And it can also make us control others under the illusion of care. Yet, when we face it, when we breathe through it, call it by name, and walk away, fear becomes a teacher. It shows us what we value, what we must defend, and where we must grow. And the warrior knows courage is not the absence of fear, it is the decision to walk forward despite it. So I'm going to read that one more time. Because it's a huge topic, and fear has an implication across multiple facets. It definitely had a huge impact on my recovery, and most definitely on my life before entering the wonderful rules of spirituality. So let me read the reflection one more time. Fear wears many masks. Sometimes it comes as anger, sometimes as pride, sometimes disguised as concern. In recovery, fear can whisper, "You're not ready," or "You failed again." It's a thief, a thief of action and a master of disguise. But here's the truth. Fear has no real power of its own. It feeds only on the energy we give it. Every time we act with courage, every time we tell the truth instead of hiding behind comfort, fear starves just a little bit more. And in recovery, fear can stop us from reaching out when we need to. It can make us judge others before they can judge us. And fear can keep us clinging on to old habits and safety nets. And it can also make us control others under the illusion of fear. Yet when we face it, if we breathe through it, call it by name, and walk anyway, fear becomes a teacher. It shows us what we value, what we must defend, and where we must grow. The warrior knows courage is not the absence of fear, it's the decision to walk forward despite. So I just let that sit for a moment. So take a moment to breathe and ask yourself this: what fear is shaping your choices today? What fear is stopping you from taking action? Is the fear real? Or a story I'm just telling myself? How might fear be whispering through my kindness, through my silence, or even through my control? And ask yourself, what would happen if I acted with faith instead of fear? I'll ask those questions again. Some of you may want to write them down. This video is very wonderful. So just ask yourself, what fear is shaping my choices today? Are they real, or is it a story I'm telling myself? How might fear be whispering through my kindness, through my silence, or through my control? And what would happen if I acted with some faith instead of fear? Now, imagine standing before your fear like a shadow at the edge of a temple. Don't fight it. You nod to it, acknowledge it. Then you turn your back and walk towards the fire. That's recovery, you see. Walking towards the light while the dark still watches. So fear is the silent relapse. It doesn't always take you back to drink or use. It doesn't always take you back to the drink of drugs. Sometimes it keeps you stuck. We project fear onto others when we see someone struggling and try to fix them because we fear their pain will remind us of ours. We preach instead of listening because we fear being vulnerable. Or we stay small, call it humility, but really we're afraid to be seen. You see, fear tells us to stay safe, but safe is where dreams go to die. In recovery, we trade safety for growth. We trade fear for faith, and not blind faith, but earned faith. Faith built from evidence. I made it through the worst. I can face this too. And when we stop running from fear, we start learning. We start learning and it becomes a teacher. And each time we do, the warrior within us grows stronger. The hand that once shook now steadies. The voice that once cracked now speaks truth. So whilst that all settles in, I'm going to put some more music on, just to give us a little break again, and then I will go through some different segments. So we're going to go through understanding fear, how fear shapes recovery, projecting fears onto others, facing the shadow, fear, faith and freedom, and then I will give you some questions before the closing reflection. So as I say, sit back, I'm going to put some more music on, grab yourself a cup of tea, put your feet up, and I will be back and we will start to go into understanding fear. go, another awesome tune by Kevin MacLeod from his royalty music that he allows creators and collaborators to use as long as you are crediting with the work, and I have no issue with doing that because it means I get to have breaks and music within my own creations, and it is absolutely brilliant. So, you're sitting back and you're comfortable. So today we're obviously talking about fear. So the question I would probably start with would be, what am I afraid of? Really afraid of? You see, fear hides behind logic, kindness, even faith. And today we're breaking down how fear shapes recovery, relationships, and the way we see ourselves. So before we begin, just take a breath and let's face this together, like warriors gathered around the fire. So understanding fear. You see, fear isn't always a bad thing. It's instinct. It protects, you know. I would be fearful of putting my hand into a hot fire, for example, because the fear there is protecting me. But in recovery, fear often stops growth instead of keeping us safe. And what I mean by that, there are common fears that come along. The fear of failure was huge for people. You know, in the beginning it was like, well, what if I can't do this? What if I make the same mistake again? What if I'm wasting people's time? And those thoughts are not real. That's just fear trying to stop progress, trying to heed me from moving forward, trying to stop me from growth. And it certainly is not going to keep me safe if I don't do life like that. And it can be anything, you know, like I remember going to meetings early on, and one of the beautiful things I would hear was, welcome back, keep coming back, and then instantly my head would be like, they don't really want you back, stay away, what have you got to offer, look at you, you've messed yourself up, you're worse than any of these people that you're in. And it just, you know, it wasn't true. And it can be very difficult to block those thoughts out. And so what I found working is, instead of trying to block them, as they came on, I would try to let it pass through me. And be like, I hear you, or how the hell do you do that? I pause, I stop it, I check in on my feet, I'm looking around. Because 9 times out of 10 for me, the fear was just a projection of what I was feeling or thinking. It wasn't real when I was looking around me. It can then turn to fear of success. It goes to the opposite. Well, what if I do make it? What if it changes me? What if I'm no fun anymore? What if no one wants to be around me? That one I always found interesting, because by the point I came into recovery, no one wanted to be around me anyway. But fear doesn't use logic. Fear doesn't come with any kind of sense. It will look for the gaps in your armour, and it will try to penetrate you any way it knows how. And so, you know, it will say, what if I do make it, what if I know what, but then everybody's watching, how on earth do I continue? You're never going to be able to keep up. And again, like I say, these are not real, these are just thoughts, these are fear trying to stop you from moving forward, trying to stop you from growing. Fear of judgment, that was a big one. What will people say? I think if they see me, the real me? What if they don't like the real me? What if I don't like the real me? Maybe I'm better staying like this. What if I change and then the world doesn't accept me? See, all of those things are irrational, and that's how fear works. Illogical, confusing, baffling. Makes us think things that just make no sense when we sit there and think about it. Now, I'm not taking that away. I'm not saying that those feelings aren't and they don't feel real when they're not happening, because they absolutely did happen and they felt very real. But I didn't allow those thoughts to stop me from progressing. Because if I had done, I wouldn't be doing it now. And another one that used to come up was fear of loss. If I let go of this, who will I be? If I stop that, how will I have fun? If I don't do this, will they still want to be around me? You see, it's fear's way of making you or trying to make you continue the same behaviour. It's trying to stop you growing. It's trying to make you go backwards. And it hides itself as comfort. And courage, I say this again, is not the absence of fear. Courage is to be frightened and continue anyway. I'll say that again. Courage is not the absence of fear. It's being brave enough to keep walking despite the fear. So I'm just going to give you a moment to let that set in, and then we'll move across into how fear shapes recovery. Don't forget, if any of this resonates with you, please feel free to like, share, subscribe, please leave reviews. And also, if you have any questions as the show goes on, just punch it in the inbox, put it in the comments box. I will go through them, I will reply, and hopefully I will be able to alleviate some of your questions and concerns. Remember, I'm not affiliated with anybody. I am an independent creator, if you like. I draw upon multiple facets of recovery and different spirituality programs. And in doing so, I just give away what was freely given to me. And in the hope that I get to help some of you along the way. So, how fear shapes recovery? Fear showed up early. When I reached out for help, and when I started to share honestly, or when I would walk into meetings or virtual or whatever. And it's very quick. I mean, for me, the very first meeting I went to was an online meeting. And as soon as I had entered the room, the virtual room, it started out of nowhere. Get out of here, look at all them people, they're looking at you, they don't like you, what on earth have you got to do here, why are you here, they won't understand. And that was instant, like it was just and I was trying to smash that back button on my computer, trying to get out, and then I heard the word that changed my life. It still echoed through my bones today. Welcome home, we will love you till you love yourself. And in that moment, because I had faced my feelings, because I had been in there now, I was trying to run, yes. But when I heard that, I broke, but my fears left me. Now had I backed out, had I managed to leave the virtual world, I don't know if I'd still be here today, I don't know where I'd be or what my life would look like. What I do know is it would have kept me isolated. Throughout my recovery, it has had the ability to try and isolate me, which is crazy. Again, that's where the lack of logic comes in, because I know isolation is one of those dangerous places to be, especially when you're struggling. And by isolate, I mean it would say to me, no one will understand. You've got nothing to offer. Why would these people want to help you? And it just tries to isolate. And fear feeds from perfectionism. If I can't do it perfectly, I won't do it at all. What if, I'll never be able to do this and keep it up. I'll never be perfect. And that's the crazy thing, because we're not supposed to be perfect. Nobody is, but fear will ask questions like that. If I can't do it perfectly, then I won't bother. It's just a fear talking. Fear also tells us to stay quiet, to stay small. Don't risk being hurt again. And all of this will shape your recovery if you allow it to. But the truth is, recovery, it requires this. It requires us to be emotionally, spiritually and socially vulnerable. It requires us to put us into situations that we would not necessarily be comfortable in. And this takes time, but every time we act from faith instead of fear, we build trust in life. So, just when these are the way it can shape, it makes us stay quiet, it can stop the cycle, which will keep us small, and it will tell us, it used to tell me not to risk being hurt again. I've been hurt too many times, I don't want to. And it was crazy, because it was only in quieting at that voice and just walking forward anyway that I got to get the help I needed. So I'm just going to take a little break. I'm going to put another little bit of music on, and then we'll go into the next 2 seconds, which is projecting fears onto others, which is a big one, and then facing shadows. So again, just sit back, relax, put your feet up, have yourself a cup up, enjoy the music, and I shall be back. Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that. So during that little interlude, I actually got a little message just asking if I could maybe play something else in between as well, not just the Sylvester music. And absolutely I will. So the next little musical interlude will be just a short instrumental piece and nothing to do with the festive season. As I say, this is a completely inclusive platform. All of mine are. And I welcome the engagement. I welcome the help in shaping the product that we are putting out there, because it is important. We're building a tribe. I want you all to feel inclusive. And so where I can accommodate requests, I absolutely will. And that is a request that I will absolutely do. So thank you for just taking time to message him and just sit back there, and I hope you continue listening and enjoying the show and getting to learn from it. So, here we go. So what's next? Number 3, the third part, projecting fear onto others. Fear doesn't just vanish, doesn't disappear. It has the uncanny ability to shift shape. You see, sometimes when we try to help, we're actually managing our own fear. And what do I mean by that? Sometimes we give advice to control situations that remind us of the pain. And so we want to avoid that pain, and we try to control the narrative around it. Or we judge others, we judge their progress because it reflects what we're not facing. Once you've been around the rooms for a while and the recovery programs, you can hear it. Sometimes, and I would hear it, sometimes I'd be more worried about what step somebody else was on or what they was up to, rather than staying in my own lane and concentrating on my own program and worrying about what step I was on. Because the only recovery, the only person's journey that I am in control of, and I'm not even in control of that, is my own. I handed my will and my life over to the care of the gods of my understanding, which is Odin, Freya, Loki, and Thor. And you can choose any you wish. But I definitely try to not judge people. And if I find myself judging them, I look at myself and ask why. Because sometimes when I'm reacting to somebody else or what they're doing or how they're presenting something, then it's all, and and the fear comes out of me and I get angry and I want to defend. I have to ask myself, what is it I'm defending? And why am I then projecting my fears onto this person? Because for me, I know that, I'll give you an example. There was a time somebody posted something and I didn't like it. I got angry. I didn't agree with the ethics behind it. I thought I knew better. And so I tried to demand that this person took this thing down from their own personal pain. And that's not what we're trying to do. That's me trying to control somebody else. That's me trying to control the whole narrative. And that isn't in the nature of recovery. That's fear talking. And I had to look at myself. So what is it that I didn't like? And in this particular instance, for me, it was I felt that this person was pushing their own agenda. And in actual fact, all that was doing was putting information out there for people to find a place to go and talk about their problems, their addictions and contradictions in a new safe space. We talk when we should listen, because silence can make us uncomfortable. Now, I have become very, very comfortable with silence in the past few years, and I always find it interesting. Again, it's this music in the meetings you see it. People will share. I used to do it. I would share. I talk about it. I would share in meetings. And then there's normally a host, and they sit there and they're supposed to chair the meeting and allow the meeting to flow with the energy inside of it. And for some reason, I didn't like the silence. So if there was silence, I put my hand up. Even if I didn't have anything to really add, even if I was just going to regurgitate what I'd already said, or I try to hop on the back of the last person's shirt. And that again was just fear of silence, the fear of being uncomfortable. And it is something, so it's okay, you just have to look, I can only deal with me, I can only look at myself. I certainly don't want to control anybody or anything, because that's not my job. That's God's job, that's my higher power. I am control, I am more being just somebody trying my hardest to figure this stuff out and keep it above you. So ask yourself, whose choices are you trying to control right there? And what fear is actually beneath that? Whose choices are you trying to control? And what fear is beneath that? If we don't face our fear, we keep handing it. We keep handing it to others like a torch that burns. And I've seen fear rip through recovery rooms and be passed like a baton from player to player, from person to person. And it's only when somebody picks it up and stops and pauses and looks and says, where's all this negative energy coming from? Is that person trying to be mean? Is that person trying to get any self-gain? And even if they were, is it my place to tell them what to do, how to do it, when to do it? And we have to look at it. And if we don't face it, like I say, we will just keep handing it to others. So now I'm going to go into facing the shadow. Fear loses its power when it's named. So be bold. Speak your fear. Speak it loud into the air, because they shrink in the light. Like this morning, I wasn't sure if I was in the right frame of mind to come on my show, and that was my fears projecting. What is it? Well, I had a difficult day yesterday. I didn't know what state I was in. What if I get it wrong? What if I'm selling around and it doesn't belong to me, or what if I project? And I said, no. What is this fear? I know my message. I know that I come from a place of love, honesty, truth, loyalty, respect, compassion. And so I said, no, you will not stop me from going on. Because in that moment, the fear is, I'm doing well. Our message is spreading. We're growing. My fear is, what if it's not real? That's what I'm saying. What if you fail? What if I did a show yesterday, what if that messed it up? What if people don't want to listen to it anymore? You messed it up, you're not good enough. No, I am good enough, I am worthy, and I am seen, and I have an ability to give those things back to everybody who's listening now, because I see all of you, I understand where you are, and I love each and every single one of you. Now, I know it may not have been through every single thing that all of you have, or to different varying degrees, but I certainly understand addictions, afflictions, and contradictions. And I'm blessed that I'm here, I'm blessed that you guys have found me, and I'm so happy that we are on this journey together. Something that really helps me was journaling. Massively helped me. Writing down those weird and wonderful thoughts as they came in. And in the beginning it was difficult, but then I just started writing anything. Just tried to not control the narrative that was coming out of my mind, and close my eyes and just start writing. And some of the weirdest things would come down on paper, some of the craziest thoughts. But it helped, because it's there. Once I put it on paper, it was there out in the open. I had nowhere to hide. I couldn't hide in the background, trying to control, trying to manipulate, trying to antagonize. Meetings are absolutely a fundamental part of this process. And it is a good place where you can see not only this topic in full effect sometimes, but it's a good place where you can go and talk and work through your feelings of rejection. I meditate and I pray every single morning. If I wake up in a fearful mood, or if I've gone through the day or fear has lingered around, or it's reared its ugly head, then I would pray and I would ask my God to help me finally understand it and find it through. Not to take it away, you see. I pray very differently now at the beginning. I would have just begged for it not. I don't want to be fearful. Please take it away. But that doesn't serve. Fear serves to face it, to question it, to learn from it. And I've been blessed with a best friend who was my sponsor. He still technically plays that role of sponsor, but we are way beyond that. But we was able to talk, and I was able to be honest, open and real with him, and we would work through things together. And all of those are tools to unmask fear: journaling, meeting, prayer, sponsor. Visualize your fear as a shadow behind you. Not a force before you, but a shadow behind you. And walk forward regardless, knowing it's there. But if it's behind you, it can do no damage. Because when I acknowledge my fear, I'm no longer its prisoner. I am its teacher. By walking forward, I tell it, I acknowledge you, I hear you, I feel you, I can even see you, but you're not going to stop me. It becomes a teacher over the So the warrior doesn't kill fear, not at all. He respects it. He keeps his blade sharp, but never lets it lead. So I hope you've got something out of these two last segments. I am going to put some more music on. Again, will still be Living the Clouds library. Like I say, he's got lots and lots of online stuff, and it's all good. Always make sure that you it's written down and that it's royalty free, because the last thing you want to do, I will make sure that you credit with the work, because without input, you absolutely wouldn't be able to use it its way. And it's very important. Show and tell truth. So yeah, we then got meetings, prayer, journaling, and talking. So I'm just going to put some music on, sit, prepare, enjoy, relax, and I will be back. that was a piece of music that goes on, and that is called Peace of Mind. As I say, all of his music is available on YouTube. He's got an extensive library, he does all sorts. So, and that was for that person that messaged me asking for something slightly different than the rest of the music. I am going to add to my playlist because the reason I had to cut that is that goes on for 35 minutes. I've got to, because of the request earlier, I will make sure that I have a full playlist, all inclusive for the next episode. So whilst we're here, I hope you're still comfortable, I hope you still enjoy the show. Don't forget, I go live on TikTok every single night, 9pm UK time. Just chuck the 9pm UK time into Google wherever you are, and it will tell you your time zone and what time where you are. Other than that, I've got this podcast, which is available on multiple platforms, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Podbean, you name it, it's there. And if all I ask is if you do enjoy the content, if you're getting something from it and it's helping you, or you think you know somebody that it may help, please like, share, and please follow. It's so important because there's an awful lot of people listening, and I understand it. But if you follow, then I know where my demographic is. I can see, which topics are popular in which regions, and I can start to really put something together that is for all of the tribe and make sure we continue moving together. So let's move on to fear, faith, and freedom. Faith. Faith isn't blind belief. Faith is evidence, evidence collected over time. What do I mean by that? Well, when I very first came into the rooms of recovery and started to live a spiritual life, I didn't have it. I didn't understand what the journey ahead of me was. I knew the carnage and devastation that I was in and the chaos that I couldn't escape. Now you fast forward that 5 years on, and now I have evidence. I have evidence collected over the years of how faith does work, how, ignoring fear, not ignoring it, but acknowledging fear and not allowing it to control me, has got me to where I am, and I have evidence of all the things I've been doing, of things that work, and things that don't. And now I have faith in my program, in the program I attend, in my tribe, and in how I navigate through life as well. So you see, faith isn't blind belief. It's evidence, it's lessons, it's having taught and learned from the past. Think of every time you've survived something you would break. All those times where the pain and anguish was just so unbearable, you had no idea how you would go to continue, or if you would. And yet, here we are. And that, my tribe, my warriors, my wanderers, my faithful, that is the truth. That is your shield of arms. You see, faith says, I've been through worse, and if I can get through that, I can face this too. And here's the beautiful thing, remember this and hear my words. Say this aloud now. I don't have to do it alone. No warrior goes into battle alone. We go as a tribe, and we watch each other's backs, and we pick up the fallen comrades. Because we don't have to do this alone. I tried, and it didn't work, and it was fear that kept me from trying to do it. It was fear that stopped me reaching out. And the opposite of fear is not courage. The opposite of fear is connection. Because when we connect with others, we know it can be done, and it dissolves fear, it dissipates. Or it can linger in the background, but when we're together, it doesn't matter. We can see it all forward. I really hope that this is really of some use to some people. I hope it's answered some questions, and I hope you've got some kind of better understanding of how fear can rear its ugly head and how illogical it can be. So I'm going to leave you with some questions, and feel free to message in the comments or just sit down and journal, jot things down for yourself. What fear keeps showing itself in your life? What fear keeps repeating in your life? What fear keeps repeating in your life? Who or what are you projecting it onto? Who or what are you projecting it onto? You know, things like who are you trying to control? Who are you trying to tell what they can or can't do? What's one act of faith you can take today, no matter how small? What is one act of faith that you can take today, no matter how small? So which bit of evidence over time can you take today? So do one thing today that fear has stopped you from doing. Do one thing today that fear has stopped you from doing. And then watch how the light comes in instead of darkness. So I'm going to leave you with this, guys, and then I'm going to play out fear will always walk beside us. Always. But it doesn't get to steal anymore. If we acknowledge it and we see it, it's kind of putting the light on it, and that's really cool. So when fear whispers, listen, but don't stop. Listen, but walk on. And every step you take in faith, in moving forward, that becomes recovery, and recovery becomes freedom. So, remember, I am available on all platforms. If this message has hit you and resonates with you, and you liked it, and you like the way I am delivering stuff and the content, please like, share, follow. Following is very important. Leave some reviews as well, because the more reviews we get, the more recognition, and then the more people we get to help, and our tribe can continue to grow. Remember, at 9 PM UK time, every single night throughout December, I will be on TikTok Live. If you punch in wherever you are into Google, 9 PM UK time, it will tell you what time I'm on where you are. That's a more open show, and it is a place where I expect people to be respectful, kind, considerate, and nice to each other. I won't tolerate any nasty incidents or safe places, all inclusive. And as I say, I hope that I use all inclusive language, and if ever you feel that I'm excluding or feels like I've said something that includes anybody, please let me know, because I absolutely am not about that. I just want to put my hand out, and anybody that wants to reach out, I will grab hold of you and I will pull you along, and we will ride into the waves and the storms on the long ship together, because that's the way we want. So, this has been L.E.O. Lothbrock, the #1 podcast, the Infinite Frequency. And until next time, my warriors, my daywalkers, my creatures of the night, my wanderers, and everybody else in between, stay brave, stay awake, and walk through fear, walk through it.